Hello there everybody, What Culture Wrestling's Adam Cleary here, and it's Royal Rumble season! Yes, already, and yes, those were the hairs on the back of your arse slowly beginning to stand on end. Yes, no sooner has WWE punched back in for the start of a new year do we get to rub our grubby little hands together in glee for the undisputed greatest night on the entire wrestling calendar. Yes, it is. For over 30 years now, the great, the good, and literally Drew Carey have battled it out to see who would be sent directly into the main event of WrestleMania to challenge the WWE Champion for the WWE Championship. Except sometimes it's the World Heavyweight Champion for the World Heavyweight Championship, or sometimes the Universal Champion for the Universal Championship. Sometimes not even the main event, is it? Sometimes it's like right in the middle of the card, and sometimes it's right at the start of the card, or sometimes you lose your spot and have to get it back on television at some point in February, just whatever. It's still quite prestigious, in my opinion. And in order to claim this illustrious prize, some superstars have utilised some unique tactics, shall we say, to get the edge over their 29 other opponents. Some are genuinely brilliant slices of ingenuity, and others are just grade A prime rib shithousing, but it's all entertaining nonetheless. So with that all said, my name is Adam Cleary, and these are the 10 most unique tactics ever employed in a Royal Rumble match. Number 10, the Road Dogg 2000. Yes, the New Age Outlaws became such huge babyface stars that many people watching at home forgot how good they were as like dickhead, brash, swaggering heels. However, in the year 2000 edition of the Royal Rumble, the DOGG displayed his COWARDICE by wrapping himself around the bottom rope. Now yes, this did of course make him a sitting DUKK, but he endured the abuse of his fellow wrestlers by just holding on so tightly that they would kick him for a bit and then get tired and just leave him alone. And thus the Road Dogg enjoyed a 20-minute stay in the Royal Rumble, pretty much the entire time spent hugging that bottom rope about as tightly as Adam Wilborn hugs me on a night out, and he was eliminated by, of all people, Billy Gunn. Yes, that's right. Number 9, Vince McMahon, 1999. Yes, for Vince McMahon, the very idea of sharing a ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin during the 1999 Royal Rumble was about as appealing as the idea of allowing the women's roster to get changed in a room which had a lock on it. Not on his watch, pal. And lo, in order to ensure that Austin would not win the match, and far more importantly, give Vince a kicking in the process, he placed a $100,000 bounty on the head of the Texas Rattlesnake. Thus, Test, Ken Shamrock, and the Big Boss Man hospitalized Steve Austin before the match could even start. But of course, Austin being Austin, he rode back into the arena driving the very ambulance he had been carted out in. But I'm very pleased to report that this story has a happy ending, because Vince didn't even need to pay out the bounty, did he? Because he eliminated Austin himself at the very end of the match. Warms the heart. Number 8, Macho Man Randy Savage, 1993. Of all the Hall of Famers to ever grace a Royal Rumble match, Macho Man Randy Savage was... how can I put this? He was really, really, really bad at them. See, in 1991, he was drawn 18th, but just didn't bother entering it because he'd already cost Ultimate Warrior the WWF Championship earlier in the night. Then in 1992, he dove at Jake the Snake Roberts over the top rope. Let that one sink in for a second. And then in 1993, he got himself down to the final two, him and Yokozuna. He put the big man on the deck. He went to the top rope. He hit the elbow, and then he went for a pin in the Royal Rumble. A pin. Yokozuna then promptly military pressed him both off of his chest and over the top rope and out of the match, because Macho Man Randy Savage went for a pin in, of all the tactics, of all the unique tactics in this list, attempting to pin a man. Idiot. Number 7, Mick Foley, 1998. Now, we all know everybody has a favourite face of Foley, don't they? There's the deranged Mankind Foley, there's the chaotic Cactus Jack Foley, there's the ever-loving Dude Love Foley, then there's the best-selling author and occasional WWE panel show star Mick Foley, then there's that level of obsession with creepy dolls is definitely not healthy Colette Foley, and then finally there's a monkey crashing cymbals is always playing inside of her head, Noelle Foley. However, in 1998, a whopping 3 of these personalities made it into the same Royal Rumble match. Cactus Jack emerged at the start, had a hardcore match with Chainsaw Charlie. Then Mankind came out in the middle of the pack somewhere, didn't do very well, before finally Dude Love made it to the final 4. Now that's quite interesting, and of course Mick Foley remains the only person to enter the same Royal Rumble match 3 times, but the boring side of this is that they did that because there was a genuine lack of star power in that year's Royal Rumble. Yes, just like months away from the company's most exalted, romanticized run in its history, they did not have enough big names to make the Rumble, so Foley had to do it 3 times. Number 6, Nia Jax 2019. It says absolutely everything about WWE in 2019 that this story just somehow gets left off the pile because it just wasn't that crazy in the grand scheme of things, was it? Like in any other year, in any normal promotion, this would be recognized as the absurdest masterpiece that it is, but for Vinny's big house of big bad banter boys, it was just another Sunday night. Now, you all know the story already. Nia Jax gets eliminated from the Women's Royal Rumble by Becky Lynch earlier in the night and then just comes out during the men's match, interrupts R-Truth's entrance, throws him into the screens and, of course, injures him in the process, and then just decides that she's going to be the number 30 entrant. She's going to have a go. And what followed was... Wait, can we play the clip?
It's an RKO, please.
It's gonna
I can do it. Yes!
Number 5, Raven, Steve Blackman, Al Snow, Perry Saturn, Grandmaster Sexay, and Kane, 2001. Cast your minds back, please, friends, some 22 years and indeed about 2 minutes to me mentioning that Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie introduced the world of hardcore wrestling to an otherwise 30-man spectacular. Then, if you would be so kind, jump your minds forward 3 years to a fair chunk of the roster doing the exact same thing. In the midst of the Royal Rumble match, the hardcore chaos of the Attitude Era broke out as, well, lots of men hit each other with lots and lots of different things. Kendo sticks, chairs, trash can lids, shopping trolleys. Again, literally Drew Carey. Now, this was a very fun, if a little bit silly diversion in the middle of the match, but it did give us the immortal image of Kane exploding a guitar over the honky-tonk man's head. Now, if you just care to look at his face in this, please. Yes, if you wouldn't be... Yes, you see it? You see it there? Yes. He is only 2 years older at the time this happened than Bobby Roode and AJ Styles are now. Yes. Number 4, Beth Phoenix, 2010. People tend to forget what a shocker this was now, but at the time, Beth Phoenix becoming only the 2nd woman in history after Chyna to enter the men's Royal Rumble match was a pretty big deal. Waiting for her in the ring was notorious ladies man, the great Carly, who, refused to fight her and instead just scooped her up and placed her on the apron. And Phoenix responded, I guess you might say countered, by putting a massive sloppy wet kiss on him and dragging him over the top rope. A huge moment in her career and a huge moment for women's wrestling, but a night you would probably remember more fondly was she not immediately then attacked, assaulted, go to sleep and eliminated by CM Punk. Oh, and Matt Striker's never trust a woman call in the middle of all this. Who hurt you? Number 3, Jake the Snake Roberts, 1989. Look, I could stand here and tell you the whole story about Jake the Snake and Andre and how it led to this, or I could tell you the whole story about how Jake the Snake Roberts became Jake the Snake Roberts and adopted the whole snake gimmick, but can we just take a minute to acknowledge the fact that in the middle of the Royal Rumble he pulled out a python and Andre the Giant leapt over the top rope in fear. That is, I know this is number 3 in my list, but that is the single greatest tactic ever used in a Royal Rumble. That's all we need to say. That's it. And this is it. We're finished. That's it. That's all we need. That's brilliant. Number 2, The Big Boss Man, 2000. I will honestly fight until my dying day to have the Big Boss Man's like around the Millennium Run acknowledged for what it is, and that is some of WWE's best ever writing or heel work. Like, legitimately, the man cooked Al Snow's dog and then fed it to him. The man had the Big Show's mother live on air tell the world that he was a bastard. And then when you're like, oh, what can they do next? He hijacks the Big Show's father's funeral, ties the coffin to the back of his car, donuts it around the cemetery while the Big Show physically holds on to the coffin. That's, like, what do they do now if they want heel heat? They smother someone in dog food. Anyway, yes, in the year 2000 Royal Rumble, the Big Boss Man makes his entrance, sees that Rikishi, of all people, who was very hot at the time, is in the ring and decides, nah, he don't want none of that. So he just decides to pace around the ring, don't get into the match, can't get eliminated if you don't get into the match, wait for the rest of the field to soften it up, and then try and get in and sneak the win. Or rather, he would have done that, obviously, had Test not come down immediately afterwards and inserted him manually. Not like that. Of course, yes, you may remember that Nunzio tried something similar in 2004 until John Cena, of all people, physically entered him into the ring. And just, wow, there is no way to make that not sound dirty. Number 1, literally everything Kofi Kingston has ever done. While this year might feel like a bit of an exception, it normally doesn't matter what Kofi Kingston does for the 364 days preceding the Royal Rumble match, provided he is in it and he is in a creative mood. Kofi Kingston has walked on his hands to stop his feet from touching the floor. Kofi Kingston has hijacked Bradshaw's commentary chair and bunny hopped all the way back to the ring. Kofi Kingston has leapt the entire distance from the guardrail to the ring apron. Kofi Kingston has been caught by all of the rosebuds and paraded around the ring. Kofi Kingston has landed squarely on Big E's shoulders. Kofi Kingston has hung onto the back of the ring post and pulled himself back up. Kofi Kingston has literally stood on a pile of pancakes to stop himself being eliminated. Kofi Kingston is a genius. Now, yeah, it is going to be a bit weird this year, knowing that the whole point of the Royal Rumble is to get a shot at the WWE Championship, and between last year's installment and this, Kofi Kingston somehow emerged as the most naturally over babyface challenger for that title, then went and won it in one of the best WrestleMania moments ever, then proceeded to go on a really, really underwhelming reign with the belt, and still somehow get robbed of it by Brock Lesnar by being forced to job out in a heartbeat. So, kind of a weird one, this. Kind of a weird one, but nonetheless, if he's feeling creative again and he's back to his best as a Royal Rumble attraction, no complaints here. Unless, of course, this is the time to do the Big E heel turn. So yes, there you have it. Those are the 10 most unique tactics ever used in a Royal Rumble, read to you by a man who would simply soil himself upon entering the ring and just hope that nobody wanted to touch him. Let me know what you made of them all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching. I have of course been Adam Cleary, What Culture's permanent number 30 entrant, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.